when COVID first hit and everyone was quarantined, I started a thing called 50 Dates in 50 States, where my goal was to go on a virtual date with a girl from each state before quarantine was over. I got to 28 states, and then something wild happened. I woke up to an email from a producer in LA that said, "Hey Matt, I came across an article written about your Corona-era dating endeavor and think it would make for a great reality TV series. If this is of any interest, I'd love to have a conversation about it." Long story short, I had to put a pause to my 50 Dates in 50 States while the producers and I got to work on creating this new reality TV series about it. Things are still in the works, but they gave me the go-ahead to finish what I started. Michalesko. So I'm with Matthew Wurnig. I said that right, correct?
Yep, you got it.
All right, sweet. So this is an interesting episode. So it's funny how I met him. I'll get right to that. But first, like I start all my podcasts, what's your song of the day? What are you feeling? What do you listen to?
Dude, song of the day. I have been jamming hardcore to some J Beebs.
Okay.
A little 10,000 hours of J Beebs and Dan and Shay. I don't know. I've been vibing to that song recently, even though it's kind of a throwback in a way. It's not like super fresh or new. It's been jamming. How about you?
Hey, that's not a bad song. So mine, I don't know. I kind of got this song. It's called "Remember This" by NF. I don't know if you ever heard of that song.
I haven't heard the song, but I like NF.
Yeah, he that's literally probably one of my probably my all-time favorite song. Just like the lyrics in it, like one of my favorite parts in it, he's like, even Satan used to be an angel, like saying people change, like giving that example. And I was like that's deep. I was like, I don't know. I was in my I was listening to that song a lot last night. I was just like, I don't know, I really just heard it, or I have a vision board that I make and like create like ideas and whatnot and what I want to achieve in life. And I put that song up there just because I love that song. So I don't know, I saw it yesterday and hit me.
That's sweet. When you actually listen to lyrics of songs, like it's crazy. Instead of just like sitting there and listening to the beat, when you actually listen to the lyrics, like there's some fire lyrics out there.
That's what I'm saying. Like I just can't I can do some beat songs, like, you know, if they have like good beats and whatnot, but sometimes the lyrics, like when they hit harder, like that's the one for me. Like those are the songs that I love.
Right, especially when they can relate. Oh yeah.
Oh, 100%. So so it's funny how I never officially met you in person, but so if you're scrolling through TikTok, you might actually see his stuff. So he started a thing called 50 Dates, 50 States. I'll have you explain a little bit more about it, but pretty much, I mean, this kid's getting famous off TikTok and now it's gonna, possibly go into more. So I'll give you the stage if you want to explain kind of what you had an idea of.
You got it. Yeah, absolutely. So I started this thing called 50 Dates, 50 States, where basically my whole vision and idea was to go on a virtual date with a girl in every state. And initially when I started this is when quarantine hit, when COVID first hit, like back in March, and everybody was quarantined, everybody's at home, like cities were vacant, and it was like that spooky kind of feeling. Nobody really knew what was going on. And I'm sitting there, and I remember I hop on Tinder on my phone, and I'm like, man, like I started swiping on Tinder, and all of a sudden a little notification popped up, and it said that I could place my location anywhere in the US for free. And I know you, like, for Tinder Gold, you were supposed to pay for that, but since everybody's quarantined, they made it free. And so immediately, like, I'm from North Dakota, so immediately I start dropping my pin in like LA, New York, Dallas, these big cities. I'm like, oh, I gotta check out all the cute chicks and whatnot. And so once I started getting some matches, I'm like, okay, what's the point? Like, I mean, if anything, it was a confidence booster. It wasn't like I was going to start talking to them and stuff, like if I couldn't see them and whatnot. And so I was like, everybody's at home. Why don't I try to go on a virtual date with a girl from all across the US. And then from there, in the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. I just like started with an idea, and then I eventually kind of found my rhythm, found my way, figured things out, started putting things together, and then it's kind of snowballed into what it is now, I guess.
Well, I mean, that's awesome. So it's funny that you mentioned how you started right when quarantine started, because legit, that's when I started this podcast. I was like,
Okay.
you need to think of something. And I mean, you created an idea, and now it's working for you. And I mean, it's such a cool thing to think of. That something that you thought of is now produced into something bigger, you know?
Right. Oh, I know. I think that's like my number one takeaway from like this whole thing is that how just a little idea can like become something so much bigger, or it could change the world. And granted, my thing hasn't changed the world, but I think of any idea, like everything around us pretty much stems from an idea. Like the computers, a cell phone, your car, a lamp, like all these little things. Someone just thought like, man, this needs to be better. I want to do this. And then they made it, and then they, left a legacy. They made a lot of money, whatever it is. So it's just cool.
It's such a neat thing, and that's what gets me. Like, I'm very positive in life, and I don't know, just everything I want to accomplish in life. It's like it's just about working hard and see where it goes, and I mean, then it works, hopefully.
Right. I don't want to get off topic, but you said that you had like a vision board. What was that about? Well, that sounds really interesting.
So, yeah, no, perfect. I'm glad you asked. So, last December was my senior year. I just graduated from Penn State in May. So last December during winter break, there's this guy. His name's Mike Dorneman. I'm gonna bring him on a episode. He used to be my older boss. Just a summer job in college. I was pressure washing houses, but he got me into. He does that as a side gig, and then he also does real estate. And then I kind of just start like talking to him every day. Like when I meet someone new, I get excited and I like ask a lot of questions because I love to learn and see if anyone can help me out, whatnot. But with him, he like had this like just mindset of just confidence and like positivity. And he mentioned this thing called The Secret. There's a documentary on Netflix. So and it's a boring documentary, I will say. It's not really a documentary, but it's like I guess it's labeled a documentary, but it's pretty much just these things that it's called The Secret, and it's pretty much saying like the power of
law of attraction, right?
Yeah, law of attraction, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much what you put in the universe, you bring out. And during this, and so I watched it once all through, and I was just glued to the TV. I was like, this is insane. I was like, this way of thinking is just it's awesome. And so then a second time through, I took notes, and one of the things in the documentary, this guy mentioned how he had a vision board, and how he put this house up on his vision board that he stared at for a little bit every day, and he was just really into it. And then through the course of 5 years, he put that in storage because he was just transferring from job to job. And then at the around the 5 year mark, he had a kid now, and he was successful with his business and whatnot. And so he had all his storage boxes bring back to his house. And when everything was there, open it up, his little boy now at this point was like, Dad, what's this? And he goes, oh, that's my vision board. And he said when he pulled it out, he legit just started to cry. And he goes, I didn't realize this, but like when I looked at the picture, I realized that house I put on that vision board, I'm living in right now, and I had no idea. Like, and so the idea of the vision board is kind of just put stuff that you really want to achieve in life. Like I have a specific quote on there. It says, set a goal so high that if you achieve it, it'll blow your mind. Like, so that it's like legit just like anything I thought of, like what I want to do in life, because I play baseball. So hopefully there's a future with that, or podcasting, or my goal is to be a TV personality as well. Like sponsorship, just anything I could think of. I wanted it on there, like modeling, acting, and literally anything.
Yeah, that's so cool, bro. I absolutely love that, because I love talking with people like you, because a lot of people aren't like that. Like a lot of people aren't like, a lot of people are negative, or a lot of people like they think they're small-minded, like they don't think big, or they don't like the number one word I hate is realistic. Like when you
I hate that.
terrible word. Like when you're telling people like your dreams, ambitions, what you want to do, and they're just like, yep, Yep. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Like
Mhm.
they don't see it. They don't feel it. They don't think it's realistic. Like I
Yes.
hate that stuff, and it really brings you down. So I love that you made a vision board. That's really cool. I kind of I don't have like a vision board. I guess I do. It's if it is, it's like unorganized. I had like I would put papers on my wall, and I have like notes on them of kind of things I could do and where things could go, and kind of an outline just so that stays fresh. And then for me, like I'm really big on positivity. And so I take sticky notes and I put sticky notes in like spots where I'll always look. So,
Oh,
right.
I like that.
So, yeah. So, right when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I see a sticky note on my door when I like go to the shower, and it says today's going to be a great day.
Hmm.
And like, just so, cause I was listening to Steve Harvey talk, and Steve
Oh,
Harvey,
he's great.
it's
Great.
yeah, yeah. And he was saying that, like if you wake up in the morning and you're immediately complaining, like, oh, I'm so tired, or oh, I need more sleep, or oh, I got to go to work, or oh, it's cold out, whatever, like you're just going to have a bad day from the get go. But if like
Hmm.
you immediately wake up and you're like thankful for the opportunity to take on a new day, and you're like, oh man, I'm going to have an awesome cup of coffee, or like whatever, just everything that's simple, you just make positive. Like, and that's changed my life, literally like a sticky note. Just,
Yeah.
just like wake up positive. Like today's gonna be a great day. Oh, it's incredible. So I love to
I,
hear that
I,
you make ambitions. It's awesome.
yeah, I love the fact that you said that stuff. I mean, we got to get another episode going with
Right,
just talking about that
right,
stuff.
right.
I have another friend. His name's Jordan Singletary. He's from Texas. Went to school with him though. Super cool guy, and he has like the same mindset. And it's just I got to the point where after I did all that stuff, it's just about I learned just to surround myself with the right people who one are going to push me, and hopefully I can push them. Whether that's a relationship or just a friendship. Like I want to be that person and be the leader almost, and like but help others and help them help me. Like it's so that's and the positivity thing is just the best part about all that.
Oh, 100%, man. Yeah, no, good energy is so contagious.
Yes, you have no idea.
It really is. So yeah, I mean, God, we're gonna have to do another podcast, and we'll solve all the world's problems.
I really hope so because this world's crazy right now.
Right?
Yeah. Not one more thing before we get back onto the topic. I had I work with like ESPN, Fox Sports, and BTN, like kind of just doing like games with them, trying to work my way up type of thing. Um, but so what this past Monday I was supposed to work the Eagles game for Monday Night Football, and
Oh,
you have to get COVID tested before every game. And for some reason on this past Sunday or 2 Sundays ago, I tested positive, and I was like, "What?" Like, had no idea.
yeah.
Like, so I mean, I'm hopefully get my results back tomorrow, and hopefully it's all negative because I mean there was never any like symptoms or anything,
Uh-huh.
and even to this date there was no symptoms, so it was crazy, and I had no idea because I was so safe with everything. But
Dang.
what I was getting to is like during that whole time, I was like, how could like I now have to quarantine, but like how can I make my life better? So I created this thing. It was called I call it my daily schedule. Literally, it's just like stuff I'm trying to achieve, like working out wise, what I want to do right when I wake up. So you mentioned waking up, you look at the sticky notes. And what I get to now is when I wake up, I have a book that I read that I like want that I'm like invested in. So like 10 pages every day, try to. And then I meditate. I started meditation, which is really hard because like
Awesome.
I think all over. Like I'm an overthinker, and so I overthink just random stuff and just think all the time. So that's helped me. And then I look at the vision boards, and then I go on like a little walk, just kind of get my mind right.
That's so cool. That's awesome. I'm jealous. I wish I've wanted to try meditating so bad, but
It's
I'm
hard.
like I'm thinking all the time, and I'm like, oh, what about this? And I feel like I'm not patient enough. But man, I
Yes,
feel like it's so essential in certain ways.
I agree. Wow, this is. I mean, I knew you were going to be a good guest, and now I'm even like way more excited to get into this.
That's
So
awesome.
so we'll definitely have another episode on that. But to get back on topic, so before we kind of hit like on the big, more bigger questions, I noticed that you were able to do this, and then other TikTokers I noticed are able to do this. But like, how do you edit your videos? Do you like use a program and then upload it to TikTok, or do you just go through the phone?
So yeah, right now all I really use is Splice,
Mm-hmm.
which is yeah on the iPhone. So just a video editor app. Have you heard of Splice?
I have not. I'm a Google Pixel guy. Yeah, I'm not the iPhone, which is upsetting. I'm sorry,
Oh,
everyone out there.
yeah. No, that's all good. So Splice is really nice because it's really user friendly, and it's not like you can do some basic editing, but nothing like where it's crazy. I did just buy Adobe Premiere Pro because
That's what I use.
okay, yeah. See, and I'm like just kind of diving into that because I know that there's like just like a whole nother realm of video editing. So
Yes.
try to go through trial and error and just make stuff and learn as I go with that. Because I think once you get good at something like that, if you have the content to build, you could really put out a lot of good stuff on your channel. So, but yeah, for right now, I really just use Splice. And sometimes I don't even, depending, but sometimes I don't even need to edit certain things, and they're just freelance where I could throw on. But that's basically the number one thing I use right now.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I was just always curious how people are doing it now. But yeah, I got into so I use Premiere Pro for every episode I upload. But then I also I had an episode. His name was Herman Wong. He's on his social media. His name's Coffee Liquor, and he's a huge like editor and whatnot, like really talented. And he got me into the idea of creating animations. I was asking about that. So I started to learn After Effects, and I started making like these, like every intro I try to think of, I go on a little drive because that's how I get my mind right, like, and start thinking. I go on drives. And so that's why when I travel to these games, that's all I think about for 2 hours. I'm just on the road just thinking of my next idea. But that's what I do with these animations for my intros. I like just create all these Adobe After Effects animations, and they're so hard, but like it's kind of cool after it comes about.
I was gonna ask, that was because I saw because I bought like the cloud, and so obviously you get like all the apps, and I was like, oh, and I saw After Effects and I downloaded it. I haven't entered it or done anything. Is it pretty tough to?
It is lit. Like I mean, just from people at Penn State or people that Herman Wong, like no one I like personally know has mastered this or knows like a lot about it. So like it's literally all self-taught. Like I'll tell you, the first time I tried an animation, it took me 3+ days just trying to, like, I was so frustrated after the first day because I couldn't figure out anything. Like everything's new. And then I just started looking up more tutorials, and like as I'm looking up tutorials and making this and following like a guideline, I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit more confident. But it's very tough. Even Premiere Pro, like right when I started using it, like it's easier. So if you need help with that, I can if you have any questions, reach out. I definitely will help. But it's definitely way easier than After Effects.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I know I'm intimidated a little bit by Premiere Pro. Like I get in there and I'm throwing some stuff in there, and I'm like, why is this so complicated? And I'm getting aggravated. But I know that I've always felt like that with anything I start in, like the video editing or like music downloading or whatever. So I'm like, patience, Matt, you got this.
Day by day. That's my life philosophy. Day by day.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah, but seriously, if you need any help, just let me know. I definitely would love to help you out.
I'll probably take you up on that.
Yeah, definitely. So you said you were from North Dakota. So you graduated from North Dakota University. Do you currently still live there? And how old are you? I was curious.
Yeah, so I live in Bismarck, North Dakota right now, and I'm 24.
Okay.
So I graduated from NDSU like 2 years ago, because December 2018 is when I graduated. Went there for about 3.5 years, and so after college, I got offered a full-time job here in Bismarck, working for the Bismarck Larks. It's a summer collegiate baseball team, and so that's where I'm kind of at now. So that's rolling. It's doing good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I noticed that was gonna be another question as I went along, because I noticed you do that type of stuff like emceeing and whatnot. So I mean, you have to have a personality that, because I did that a couple times at Penn State, and it's fun. It's hard, but it's fun when you get used to it.
Oh, absolutely. No, being an MC it's a lot of fun because you get to control the crowd in a way. In baseball, like, I mean, I never really played baseball in anything, but I know that baseball can be slow moving. Innings can get long, or sometimes it's not as like boom, 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 like basketball and things like that. But so that's why when, if there's a pitching change or it's going in to the next half inning, whatever it is, like that's where I got to really entertain the fans, get them jacked up, like either cracking jokes on the mic, doing quirky things related to on-field games, running around being a character. Like it's definitely a very, very rewarding job, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
No, I'm gonna have to also connect you with a guy. He does emceeing for the Altoona Curve, which is another baseball team. But his name's Jordan Tracy, but he has a personality like that. So I'll share his profile with you too. I'm curious if you guys connect at all. That would be funny.
Yeah, absolutely. It's awesome. It's a whole it's a whole different world, like the sports world and emceeing and stuff. You do
It's a crazy world.
Yeah, you gotta have the right personality and fit to it.
Yeah. So I'm 23, so you're only a year older than me. So that's pretty cool what you're doing right now with your life. So it was pretty interesting. That's why I was curious about it. So you are a couple years removed from college now. Well, yeah, 2 years. Is this what you had pictured your life to be up to this point?
You know, when I was in college, I remember my mindset. I really wanted to work in the NBA. I'm like, oh, like I want to work my way up and eventually be some sort of a entertainment director or yeah, just something with crowd engagement or fan interaction for the NBA. Because I really like basketball. But then after I started working with the Larks here, I realized that I wanted to be just like in entertainment in general. So whether that's sports, whether that's amusement parks, whether that's TV, like whatever those things are. But going through college, like I said, it was always like the sports world. And I think it was because that's what surrounded me with classes, professors, peers, like all, you get it, peers and internships and stuff like that. It's kind of competitive. So you want to be ahead of the game and take the right steps and whatnot. So it was always sports focused. And then when I never, I never thought I'd be working in baseball. That's for sure, because I didn't really have much baseball background. But after being here and whatnot, it's been nice. I feel like I learned way more in my first year out of college, like working in a full-time job, than I did all 3.5 years of college. Like, yes. I don't know how you learn, but like I hate learning like by looking at a book, watching a PowerPoint and a professor talk. I'm like, this is terrible.
It has a boring voice to add to that.
Yeah, just a monotone voice. Oh, it's terrible. And so like you get me actually hands-on, like out on the field, on a computer, like digging into Excels or docs, like talking to people on the phone. Like that's way, I'll learn so much more because you make more mistakes and you're not just taking notes. And oh man, so I don't know. Is that how you learn too?
No, I am 100% a hands-on learner. I hated that stuff. You have no idea. And it's funny. I think I don't know. I definitely talked about it in an episode, but I honestly forget which one. But like I think it was with Herman Wong actually. Like college, yes, it's important to go to school and like get the degree and all, but like there's so much stuff nowadays that you can learn outside of college that you could be insanely successful with. Like not even go. Like it's just crazy to me to think about that stuff. Like sometimes.
Right. I know. I look back and I'm like, man, was like, if I have to be honest, I would think that college, like going to college wasn't worth it on the educational side. It was worth it on like the experience side of like making friends, building connections, doing internships, like getting experience, all those things definitely was. But yeah, like the money to pay for classes, no. Like,
yes. I that's exactly what I was going to say. Like you said, experience and everything else above it. Cause I mean, outside of the classroom, I mean, besides learning Premiere Pro by a great teacher, his name is Brian Schoenfeld, amazing. And Steve Krasik, both great guys. Besides that stuff, like, and there's a couple other teachers that were obviously very good, but besides that stuff, it's just like everything outside of the classroom. Like I really didn't learn anything in the class. I learned maybe like one or two things, but like, and like that retain in my mind, but it's all hands-on learning. Like what the experience you build up is very important.
Right. Absolutely. No, I know. I feel like I heard this once. I can't remember exactly how it went, but they said like the things you do remember are the things you need most. It was something like that. And it was so weird because like I only remember a couple things like specifically in classrooms and things like that. And I will, think of them when something occurs and I'm like, maybe there's a reason to that. It's weird how that works. Kind of like what you were saying, you remember a handful of professors or a handful of stuff. But, it all goes into the big picture, I feel like.
Yeah, and everything happens for a reason. So, I mean, there's a reason we both went to college and learned, and you never know.
100%. That's what I live by. Everything happens for a reason. No.
Yes.
Yeah, it would, like, I don't know where I'd be, what I'd be doing. Same with you. Like, if you didn't go to where you did and like, what would we be doing, Adam,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that, like, so right after spring break is when this whole quarantine thing happened. I started this, podcast, and like I would have never expected a year ago that this is where it is, but now it's all this ideas and whatnot, and that's kind of what the world is right now. With have the this pandemic like kind of screwed up a lot of stuff, so you have to be creative and be successful some other ways.
Oh, absolutely. I know it's crazy how much like the pandemic, like absolutely, it's terrible, right? Obviously, but it's crazy how creative people got, and
how
many people became like influencers or popular or famous or whatever it is because of it. Because like what, they had to be stuck at home, and they're like, all right, I got to entertain myself. What am I going to do? And then they documented it, whether it was in podcasts, whether it was in TikToks, whether it was on YouTube, like whatever it was. And then they put it out there, and people are like, wow, these people's lives are interesting. But like those individuals never really took the time because, they go through the motions of school or their job and stuff. So it's actually like, it was actually helpful in that way for people to self-reflect almost.
That's why I learned that Mike again was telling me about like do you so the 9-to-5 life is not for everyone, and like you gotta live your life, because I never want to live my life with a what if. I want to know that I did it my way, and it's hard sometimes because yes, you have to make money for yourself to grow and whatnot, but it's about like putting it in the asset column, what's going to help you grow. And it's interesting, like life's very interesting, and we're both very young, so we'll be learning it very shortly, everything in life.
Oh right, yeah, I mean it's nice. You're 23, I'm 24. Like we could mess up for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and we're still young. We're still got our whole lives,
Yeah.
We don't. Yeah. I have the same mentality in terms of I would way rather say I failed than what if, because you at least learn, or at least you have like closure. If you quit or you don't try, the only answer is it's not going to happen. So you might as well give it a shot, right?
Yeah. What's the worst someone's going to say to you? No,
Exactly. And if you chase those things, if you chase your passion, or you chase what you think your purpose is, or what you're good at, like I truly believe the money will come. Like,
yeah, it's gonna come. Like you truly believe that you're gonna do that, and you like that's that power, that mindset. What you put in the universe, you get back, and you truly believe that stuff. It's gonna work because you're working at it one way or another.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more. We're like the same person. Yeah.
That's why I knew, like, from even watching your episode or TikTok, I was like this kid is gonna be a great like talk. I know it. I just knew it. But I keep saying before we go any further into these questions, but I have to ask because as I mentioned, I was going to work the Philly game, but I'm an all Philly sports fan, so I think you know where I'm coming with this. Are you a fan of Carson Wentz at all?
Oh, absolutely, dude. Wentz Nation, the Wentz wagon. Absolutely. Yeah, man. No,
yeah.
I'm like, that's like I like North Dakota it's not a state where it has like a lot of athletes just come out of it. So when Carson Wentz, especially when he was like first drafted, when he was drafted second, like I remember I was we were in the dorms. When I was a freshman, I got to watch him play at NDSU. Thank goodness. Like right when I was going into college, he was there that last year.
Right.
So I got to watch him play a couple games. I remember I like made a quesadilla by him in the dining center. I'm like, then I didn't think anything of it, but now I'm like, oh yeah,
Did you ever talk to him then too?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I can't remember, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
But it was just like, it was cool because nobody like really thought anything other than all of a sudden, he was a prospect, and then the draft and the combine and everything, and so everybody just like looked at him on this pedestal. But no, Carson Wentz is awesome, and I don't know, like I'm a Phillies fan because of that. I promise it's not just because of this year. I promise I'm not a bandwagoner. Trust me on this. But I am a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan.
Okay.
And so, but it's not because
Tom Brady.
No. I remember I started liking them because when I was young, my parents bought me like a Buccaneers blanket for Christmas. And so that was like, okay, cool. and that sold me on it. So now that they're actually like decent, makes me feel good.
Yeah, I really respect Carson Wentz. I mean, unfortunate news today that he's not named the starter because of Jalen Hurts, whatnot. But I mean, I truly believe maybe he needs a little bench, just clear his mind a little bit. And, I mean, he's going to be with an Eagle for a long time. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. But, I mean, he just didn't have help this year. I really don't know. Definitely sometimes it was his fault during games, but
yeah,
I really don't. I mean, I think he's a hell of a player. He's going to bounce back from this. So, Carson, if you're listening, you're going to be a Hall of Famer with the Eagles.
Let's go, Wentz.
and another thing about him is just he's a class act. Like he's Christian. He's just very does it the right way with everything. The way he even speaks. Like someone asked him the other day, like asking him all these hard questions, and he was very respectful with every question. I just love the way he carries himself.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I love that, and I think that like comes from like a little bit of the North Dakota pride in him. Like he was always like that through North Dakota, and I think it's like I think that stems from him coming from like these humble beginnings of like nobody noticing him at like until he was like a junior or senior, and then it's like boom, he goes off. So it's awesome. I love how he carries himself.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there's another quarterback from NDSU that's going to be like a highly touted this year, right?
I know that.
I don't know.
I know that Easton Stick got drafted. He was a quarterback for NDSU like a 2 years ago.
Okay. Maybe I screwed it up.
Oh, no. Yeah, you're right. No, you're right.
Okay.
Oh, man. I'm going to screw. I want to say his name's Jalen something.
But I don't know. I just thought of the name as we were talking about it.
Man, that's going to bug me now. Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, you're 100% right. There is a guy who they're looking at, because it's been like ever since Carson. It was Carson got drafted, and then Easton Stick went to the Chargers. He's kind of a no name, but he's like a backup. Then now it's this guy, and so I don't know.
Okay,
I need to look more into that though.
No, that's interesting. It's all good. So when this pandemic first started in March, what was your mindset, and was your job messed up because of it?
Yeah. Oh man, it was. I remember in March. It was just like we didn't know what we were doing with COVID and everything. We were really nervous because the league was saying, the league. We were like one of the last leagues to, we were one of the last leagues to slow down a little bit. Like everybody else was canceling right away, especially after the NBA. Like the NBA like stopped, and then MLB stopped, and then hockey stopped, and like so everybody was canceling their seasons, but for us, the Northwoods League, they decided to wait it out a little bit. And so I was like, okay, well, it was very tough to balance because, how long do we wait? Do we still prepare for the normal season? Do we work on, do we adapt and adjust to what we could do? So it was very hectic. It was like almost trying to plan for two different things, which was stressful because if you plan for one, if you put a lot of time, energy, and effort into one, it doesn't happen. It just all wasted time, and so, it was stressful. I mean, you really had to have time management and balance with it all. But then once things kind of smoothed out, our general manager for the Larks, he's a really smart guy. He ended up creating this Smart Start plan where we actually brought in 3 different two more teams plus our Larks team. We brought in 2 teams from the Northwoods League and brought them to Bismarck, and they just stayed there all summer, and we rebranded the teams. And,
that's cool.
And they just played each other all summer, and then that was kind of a domino effect. A lot of teams in the league started doing that. So our GM kind of set the tone with that, and then other teams. But we went from a 36-game home schedule to 75-game home schedule.
Wow.
Yeah, so 75. We played 75 baseball games in 82 days. So that was very busy summer. Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a good thing you got to work it and whatnot. So all right. So everyone who listened to this point, I'm gonna have to put a little thing in the beginning, like saying that we just talked inspirational stuff and whatnot, and now we're gonna get to the TikTok stuff. So I'm gonna have to put a little memo in there. But so. Before you started this, well, you already mentioned when you started the whole thing, right when the pandemic started. But before you started this, were you scared to go on dates? I'm curious on that. And then, if this had helped you, did your experience with this help you for the future going on dates? And I know that you seem like a very social guy, so I don't think that's going to be an issue for you. I'm just curious.
No, it's a great question. So can you hear me all right, by the way? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
you're good.
Yeah, so no, when I first started this and like before this, I was fine going on dates. I never have been like a active dater, I guess you could say. Like, I think it's weird to me. I don't know how you are, but like, to me, it's when you think a chick's cute or you ask her out or you want to go grab dinner or go to the movies or do your thing. Like, to me, it's just weird because
Mm-hmm.
you're never just yourself. Like, there's this like initiation phase. Like, you're sitting across the dinner table and you're both like reading each other and judging each other and analyzing like, oh, okay, how'd I say this, or oh, how do I look, or oh, does she think I'm cute? Like you're just constantly like you're never just in the moment like relaxed. It's like it's a little weird. And so like and I'm a
Yeah.
guy, like I could talk to anybody, and so it's fine. Like it's never awkward. It's just like it's never normal.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's never just like two people having dinner because you're not at like that comfortable stage yet. So but like
Mm-hmm.
what I would like beforehand, before I started all this, is like, oh, if I was already comfortable with a chick, like we're already friends or we knew of each other already and we'd go out or something, then that's like a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, I'm always comfortable talking to people, so that I never really worried too much about that. I like being single, I guess. I don't, I like,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like I feel like I have like a lot of personal dreams and ambitions, and I'm not ready. I don't know if I'm not mature enough or what it is, but I just don't want to like settle or share my time with someone else. While I want to get myself like all the priority first, and then once I'm at where
Mm-hmm.
I want to be, I'm like, okay, then I'll start looking more actively. So yeah, that was
Okay.
before, and then now after I've gone through all of, like the virtual ones. I mean, after I still kind of have the same mindset, I guess. I'm just like, oh, if a cute chick wants to go on a date, I'll do it. I try to push my comfort zone too, because sometimes I'll talk myself out of it. I'm like, no, I don't want to. And then I'm like, come on, Matt, just do it. Don't just go and like see how it is. And so yeah,
Right.
that's kind of how it's been. How are you with like? I'm curious. Are you like an active dater guy, or do you have a girlfriend right now?
Now I am currently single. For me personally, with going on dates and whatnot, I agree with like it could be weird at first. But like so getting to know someone and doing that, I don't know, I kind of experienced both, and I don't know. Actually I lied. I experienced way more just random, like just going on a date, like meeting someone and just going because like I never had like an actual friend that was a girl that like I'm like, oh, I could see myself hanging out, going more with that. Like I never did that, and I don't. It's not. I don't know. I don't know, but with me, I don't I used to talk a lot, just yeah, because I'm more traditional. I would say like I want to meet someone that I know I can hopefully have potential like a good relationship with. I have not had that up to this point in my life. It's just because I used to rush into things. So doing all this stuff, it's different. But I'm more with dating wise. If we just go, then hopefully the vibe's right. If not, then forget about it. It's over. And I'm not like I'm not a big hookup type of guy either. So that kind of throws the playing field out in college, especially.
Oh, yeah, that divvies it up quite the extent. No, it's weird at our age too. Like this is the age. Like I mean, you probably have a handful of friends that are getting engaged or married. Like
Yes, I'm
it,
actually going to be in a wedding next year.
yeah. See, yeah, exactly. So it's like, and girls are the worst. Like they build this persona because they see like their friends getting the rings and the dresses and the flowers, and they're like, oh, I want to get married. And me and you were just like, well, we're just looking for a girlfriend right now.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's just kind of one of those things. And so it's weird at this age. Yeah, you have to be really serious, like going into something because like that's, and you said it too, like if rushing into things. But that's where I learned with my friends. They would rush into something and then they'd have 4 or 5 girlfriends in a calendar year. And I'm like,
Hmm.
what's the point? and so like, I mean, like the fun phase for 2 or 3 months, sure. But like, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I always just like, I learned from an outside source. I was like, I'm just going to be patient and not go through numerous
Yeah,
amounts.
right. Yeah, I don't want to do that either. I agree. I want to make sure I'm talking to the right person and they match up with my values and I match up with theirs and we can make each other better. Because I'm all about like you date someone to see what the potential is. Like, that's just my mindset on dating.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and I like to show respect. So like, you gotta always show respect to girls, because sometimes people don't like to show respect, and that's not cool either.
Oh no, I know, and it sucks because like this is gonna sound maybe a little weird, but I feel like respect is like there. How am I gonna word this? Like, if you show respect or a lot of respect, sometimes it's like considered flirty. Like,
Yes.
if you hold the door open for someone, or if you open the door, like the car door for someone, like they're like, oh, what's this guy trying to do? It's like, what?
Yeah,
like, I'm just
you be respectful.
yeah, I'm just being respectful. Like it's, but it's weird because it's almost like old fashioned in a way.
Yes.
Like saying please and thank yous, like telling her she looks good, like getting her a flower, whatever it is. Like, some of that stuff is considered old fashioned, instead of just like picking her up with your radio blare and like hop in.
Yeah, and that's that. And I can't do that. I went on a date one time, and I'll never forget it. I opened a door for her, and this is the first time hanging out. And she goes, "What are you doing?" And I was like, opening the door up for you. Like, people just aren't used to that, and guys don't treat girls with respect sometimes. So I mean, then it ruins it. Then they're like, their minds all messed up, and I'm like, oh, it's like the girls mess up guys' minds, and girls mess up. It's like it's all weird.
Right? Absolutely. I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's why I don't know. That's why I'm like, I just don't want to do it. Like, I want to make sure I meet someone right. But so did you wait, oh, here it is. Did you put up the initial idea on TikTok to see if it was worth even starting, or did you have this mindset that you were just going to go for it right away?
Definitely the mindset I was just going to go for it right away. I didn't even have TikTok when I started this.
Okay.
Because I don't know how you were, but like, I kind of had the similar mindset of TikTok that a lot of people did that were like out of college and more, or like even maybe the end, they were like, oh, it's just high schoolers dancing.
Yeah, teenagers.
yeah, exactly. So I was like, no, I'm not getting that. But then, so I kind of went into the dates just like, oh, okay, how am I going to do this? And I was like, oh, maybe I'll put them on my Instagram. And so I started kind of throwing things on my Instagram and whatnot here and there. And when I initially announced it on Facebook, and that like really blew up.
Okay.
It had like a lot of shares, a lot of likes, stuff like that. And so I was like, oh, like people think this is pretty cool and whatnot. And then when I started going on dates, the dates were asking me, they're like, oh, so is this like a TikTok thing? And I'm like, no, I don't even have TikTok. They're like, you don't have TikTok? And I'm like, oh, my goodness, okay, I got to get TikTok. So then,
God forbid.
yeah, right. Yeah. So then I got TikTok, and then, started figuring it out along the way. But yeah, initially I had no idea.
So the first couple of dates, I noticed that you knew them like friend wise. So when you started reaching out to strangers, how did you reach out to them? Was it through like Instagram or Tinder?
Yeah. So I think like the first 5 or 6 dates I had, I think I knew like 2 of them. And what I did is I wanted to, before I like announced I was doing this thing, I wanted to have some inventory to show like it was like I was already working on it, or it was like I already had some inventory. It wasn't just like, hey, I'm gonna do this, and then like nothing to really back it up.
Right.
And so when I first and I tried to pick girls, if I did know them, I tried to pick girls that I hadn't talked to for a long time. So then it's almost like just reconnecting, or someone that I might have talked to very briefly. So there was that, but then I started on Tinder with everything. Everything was through Tinder, and I would just message them. I'd kind of like I'd throw my elevator pitch and whatnot. And then, eventually I started doing a couple, or I'd slide into some DMs too. I was doing that route, because Tinder, it sucks because there's so much waiting. And I mean,
yes, I hate that.
yeah. DMs, there's waiting too, but it is more direct. And so in Tinder, you don't even know if somebody's going to really see it.
Right.
So I started those 2, but then after it started rolling, then I didn't even have to use Tinder anymore, which was super nice, because then I would just go through my DMs or my comments, and then I could just pick the girls that I thought were, cute and fun and chill, and be like, all right, you.
I like that. That's really cool. So what was a typical message like? I'll give an example of mine. It's whenever I reach out to someone, I mean, you saw it. I try to make it personalized for everybody. I don't want to just have a basic message, but I say like, hey, I saw your stuff, really like what you're doing. And then I kind of say, what I'm into, and what I do, so I'm not sounding like a complete random stranger. And then I send my podcast profile just to make sure, like, show them like this is legit.
Mm-hmm. No, I thought your approach was awesome, because like you
Okay.
were, the thing that made me attracted to it was like I could tell you were an energetic guy, or like
Mm-hmm.
you were enthusiastic about what you do and everything. It wasn't just like, hey, I have a podcast, want to come on? Like it was
Yeah.
like, it wasn't dry. It was like you had a good approach to it. So I really,
Okay. Cool.
yeah. And for me, my pitch changed like 18 times because like, at first it was typical just saying like, hey, at first I would say like, I'd ask them a question, because usually when you get asked a question, you always want to know what like the follow-up is. And
Yeah.
so I would ask them a question to like kind of reel it in, or to cast out the fishing pole. And then once they bit, then I try to reel them in. And
Yeah.
so I would ask them just like, hey, would you consider yourself a fun and outgoing gal? And
Mm-hmm.
then, or like fun and spontaneous or whatever I would say. And then normally they'd be like, because if they say no, they just sound boring. And
Yeah.
so, most of them would say like, yeah, or whatever. I think so. Why? And then I would say, well, I created this thing called 50 Dates, 50 States, where I'm trying to go on a virtual date with a girl in every state. And initially I was trying to do it before quarantine ended,
Yeah.
before some like the LA stuff popped up and whatnot. But yeah, I said I'm trying to get, go on a date with a girl in every state before quarantine ends. You can check out, I sent them my Insta and things like that, if it was on Tinder, just because even if I didn't have like an artillery of stuff to show, just so they could like check me out, if they were like, oh no, this kid's a weirdo, like, so I tried to give them the common courtesy to, at least like uh social media stalk me.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of in the beginning, and then towards the like as it went, then I would kind of do what you did, is like how you shared your podcast. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'd be like, oh, check me out on TikTok, or things like that. Like and it was usually pretty easy that way, because it was already girls who reached out to me, and so I was
Yeah.
just like, oh yeah, like absolutely. So it
That's
changed
cool.
a bunch, but yeah. So
Well, then what was a typical date like then? Did you just say like, let's get on a Zoom call and do it, or what did you do with it?
yeah, so I tried to make them. I wanted to make them fun. It's
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, like my creativity was it was tough to get creative with these, when like, because I feel like there's only so much you could do virtually, right? And
Right.
so I really got to the drawing board on what I could do. So I'd wear wacky outfits for some of them, because as the MC and the entertainer for the baseball team, I do have some like different colored suits and things like that. So I'd wear those like based on where the date was. I would do like, there was a date where I did a couple magic tricks. I bought a couple dinner. I'm trying to think what else. Like, I'd play some games like categories or never have I ever, things like that. I'm like kind of known for this a little bit, but like shotgunning beers and stuff. Like we do like a couple of shotguns on my dates or taking shots. So I always tried to make them fun in that way, instead of just hopping on talking, because and don't get me wrong, I did that with a handful of them, and that's where it was just tough, because I didn't know how else I could get creative and whatnot. Or sometimes I'd have like back to back to back dates, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, okay, like I'm doing it for this one, and I got to talk on this one, and then so this is kind of a puzzle to put together.
That's interesting. And disclaimer: we are of age, so anyone under 21, do not do that. You got to do this.
Absolutely.
So, was it weird then first doing the dates? Maybe not the ones you knew, but like right when you reached out to strangers, like with these ideas, and did you think it was weird doing it like as you were talking, or did it like loosen up as the dates went along then?
Definitely loosened up as the dates went along. Like there were things that I would think of that I wanted to do on a date,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't like start off like, oh hey, I'm Matt, and then I'm gonna show you this magic trick. Like it would never be like that. Like I would always play the date out, and we'd see how things were, or I'd talk to him about it in Tinder or in Insta or whatever it was before I got on the date.
Yeah.
Like, oh hey, like with Tennessee, I'm like, hey, we should have mimosas on Sunday morning or whatever. And she's like, oh, that'd be awesome. And so when we get on, like, we're cheersing with our mimosas, and we start talking about like bar drinks and you know, and stuff like that. So it just like, sometimes it's almost like an icebreaker to do those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I would more so talk to him about it first, and then it would just play into it. So that's how those kind of went. But they all went really easy going for the most part. Like I'd say, oh man, I shouldn't even say this, but I'm going to.
I can edit it if you don't want it.
That's all right. You do you. But I'll be honest. There was, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, there's some dates I like more than others. Like, in terms of, or they went better in terms of others, I should say. Just like of what we did or how well we, you know, fit and things like that. But then I remember I had one date, and it was terrible. It was so terrible. And it was terrible because like she was so, oh man, she just seemed very distracted. Like, I feel like if you were talking to me and I was just sitting here like on my phone.
Oh, that's like, the worst.
Like you feel like you're not, like, you would feel terrible. Like,
ladies, don't do that during a date. That's the most annoying thing in the world.
Right, yeah, absolutely. So she was, her roommates were around, and they were like drinking, and it was chill. Like, I've had that happen before, but then like she would just like, she just seemed distracted and not really into it. And then she was like, oh, what time is it? Like, she seemed like she was like waiting for the time to stop till it had hit an hour. And then she kind of had some like bad attitude too. And I literally was like, you know what? I'm going to find another date from that state.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I like,
keep going. I was going to say, I had these questions, like you just answered a bunch of questions I just had in this episode. So keep going. That's awesome.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And it was, I mean, that's why I have, whatever. This is why I had 2 Florida dates, is because my I called it out. I don't care, whatever.
She can learn from it. She can learn from it.
Yeah, she can, absolutely. And so I literally, I remember after, I was just like, man, that was not good. But then I was like, man, I wrote her name on the map, and I'm like, okay, it's fine. Well, you know what? I'll just keep her as it, you know, that's okay. But then I remember I got a DM from another girl from Florida like a couple days later, and she was very, very, very attractive. And I was like, this chick seems chill. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to. I just like, there was something inside me, even if that chick didn't DM me, I was like, I really don't want to include the other one. And so I just, and it was really hard for me to do that, because I felt bad, because she did agree to do it.
Yeah.
And she took time out of her night to do it. But then on my end, I'm like, you know what? You just didn't fit what I was looking for, I guess.
Did she reach back out to you then after, like, if you posted it?
Yeah.
Did you explain how it, like, you're like, listen, it just wasn't good?
No, I didn't. I couldn't, Adam. I didn't know what to say. I posted the video where like it was the slideshow of all the girls going through, and she DM'd me, and she was like, hey, why am I not in this? And I was like, oh no, what do I do? And so I just didn't respond. I didn't know what to do, dude. I froze. I folded like a long chair. I didn't know what to do.
That's completely fine. I mean, it sucks, because there's definitely girls out there like that, and that's another thing. Like, you don't know until you actually go on a date, and but like, there's definitely times you just don't know until you get that personal interaction. So I mean, hopefully she can learn from that, because there's definitely so many girls out there like that, and it's so frustrating.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So I was just like, you know, I rolled with the punches, and that's where it is.
Well, I mean, I respect you for doing that, because I mean, I mean, I don't know. It sucks. I feel bad for her, but at the same time, I mean, she did it to herself almost.
100%, absolutely.
So what was I had another question I was gonna ask, but that threw me off, and I loved it. It was great. But so how long did the dates go usually? You said an hour, but I saw that one lasted like 6 hours.
Yeah, that was my first date with California. That one lasted 6 hours, which was just nuts. And it's weird, because it's with those, like, in the beginning, I didn't have it on a time schedule. We just kind of went with it, and in the beginning, my dates were way longer. They were usually always above like 2.5 hours or more. It was like 2.5, 3, 4 hours. And yeah, the California one was 6, but it was never like I sat there like, oh my gosh, when is this gonna end? No, it was it was very engaging. But like I remember at the end of the California one, I literally thought we had been talking for like 2.5 hours, and she's
no
like,
way,
talking for 6 hours, and I'm like, what? Like
wow.
yeah. So but after I was doing those in the beginning and everything went on pause and then I started to back up, I was like, okay, I gotta really be valuable with my time here, and I want to make sure I'm just doing hour dates. And if they go a little longer, sure, it's okay. But like it was such a hassle to like download a 5 or 4 hour date.
Yes, it takes forever.
Yeah, and going through and trying to like take like a 30-second clip of a 6-hour date, like it was just so much time to do and storage and things like that. So I'm like, hour dates, it's so much more organized, so much more clean that way, like you know how to do it. So I just started doing hour dates after I resumed.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be a little past an hour, but I know exactly how you're talking. I every time I edit a podcast, like I make sure, because I know there's sometimes like I'll say something that I didn't want to say in there, or they said something and they wanted out of there, so I have to go through everything. And I'll tell you, when I edit, I'm usually I listen all the time, but sometimes I'll be on my phone like trying to do something else while like I'm trying to multitask, because that takes forever to edit that stuff.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that. Oh man, yeah, you have to, podcast, you have to, it's the whole thing.
It's the whole thing.
It's the absolute whole thing. Oh my goodness, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No wonder you got to keep them like really.
Well, that's what sucks, because I'm literally doing everything by myself, because I mean, this is my idea. So, I'm doing this, or trying to set up episodes, trying to film the episodes, then editing. So I'm trying to be on a schedule where I put one out weekly, but like life just gets in the way, and it's so hard, because like at the point, because you don't have an editor or anything like that. But to be honest, I don't know if I'm ever going to want an editor, because I don't know if they're going to want it to edit the way I wanted it. You know what I mean? Like because everyone could have different ways they want to edit. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, you want it in your hands.
Oh, yeah.
Still might be froze, Adam. Hold on. Oh, there we go.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry.
Okay, cool. Where did I leave off at with you?
You said that you don't know if you want to like put the editing in
edit. Yeah, because with the editing stuff, like I don't know if someone's gonna want to edit the same way I want it. You know what I mean? Because there's definitely parts where I think are more engaging than others, and I feel like if I have an editor, like they might cut it out. So when I get to that point, I'm gonna have to really consider what I want to do with this. You know what I mean? How I want to grow it. With a team possibly, like, because it's a lot to do this stuff sometimes.
Yeah. No, 100%. I know that's always a fear I have as well. Like if I build this and build something, like you're just like delegating tasks, or you're giving responsibility to others. But then if it's not done the way you would do it, it's like, oh man, like why don't I just do it?
Yeah, and well, maybe I don't know if you're like this, but like when you had a date set up, because like when I do it, like, don't get me wrong, I love doing this stuff, like everything about it. Like I love creating the mind, or the vision of it, getting someone on. I just love all that. But right when someone agrees to come on, like it gets to be a lot of work, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this now, type of thing.
Oh, 100%. I'm so glad you said that, because that's like refreshing for me, because I was like, I really hope I'm not the only one.
I was hoping I wasn't the only one. Someone else had a podcast I was on, and they said the same thing, that they're like that too.
Yeah, I think, but yeah, it's so true. Like I was like that with dates, like if I had 2 or 3 in a night, or if I had one, I'm like, man, like I have stuff to do, and I have to talk to someone, and like it's not bad, because like I love doing it.
Yeah.
But it's like you have other things you're prioritizing, you're getting organized and things like that. So it was honestly super refreshing once I completed 50, because then I was like, okay, now my priority and my vision and focus can shift to not scheduling dates, lining up these things, exporting and downloading the videos, cutting clips. Like now I can turn my attention to something else, or just content, or whatever it is,
Right. Yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong. As soon as I get the call on, like as soon as I'm with the person, like I didn't have this issue with you, because I knew it was gonna be a really exciting episode. But I know that like right when I'm on the call, like all that stuff I just thought of just goes away, because then I'm in the conversation. It's fun.
Same. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think that's like I think it was for me, and I think same for you, with dates. Like for me, sometimes it was repetitive of just like, oh, another girl, another girl, another girl. And for you, it might be like, oh, another podcast, another podcast, another podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's nice to do things like this because like it's like different from what I do. You know, it's like,
Right.
oh, I'm talking to someone, and it's like the same in a way of like, oh, I'm virtually chatting with someone, but it's a completely different like
Topic. Right.
Yeah. And so
That's why I like to find, because I mean, I love sports and whatnot, and I like having some sports people on, but I'd like to say this is a guest-based podcast because I love to see the interesting things people do in their lives, and then I love to learn from that. And like I bring people on that I think I can learn from, or or like it's just a really cool episode and they're really cool. So and I try to like that. I don't know. I try to have it help me, and then also have a really cool episode because there's a lot of cool people out in this world that like my motto for this podcast, and I have it on my biography, my Instagram, is everyone has a story, and it's so interesting.
It's so true. That's awesome. I love that.
So, oh, and this is what I remembered I was going to say prior. So I think it was your day 2 or someone, and it was the Tennessee one also, because that's what reminded me of it. But I love how you were like, this is an absolute dime, or like a 10 out of Tennessee. I love that, dude.
Oh yeah, I had to. You know, I tried. It was so weird when I was making. Are you talking about like my date highlight?
Yeah.
It was so in the. Yeah, that was good. When I was making my date highlights at first, like that was something I really went through trial and error with. At first when I was making them, I made them kind of that way where I did like a voiceover and just recapped and stuff, and then showed maybe a little part of it. But then I was like, that wasn't getting as good as traction as I thought. So then I switched it up and I started doing it a little differently and had like a different intro to it that was the same. And then that one got a little better traction, but not as much. So then I just started like doing the actual highlight, getting straight to the point. And those did really good. Those like were my best things. So I'm like, okay, I found my rhythm now. This was okay. Then these did good. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really funny. Yeah, I like how you mentioned that stuff. It made me laugh. Okay. So I know the video was on TikTok, and this was one of the more recent ones, but you're like, everyone's asking who my favorite date was, and then it cut out, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah. Are you willing to say on this podcast who your top date was?
I will never say. I can't do it. In my mind I have I have a couple. I honestly don't know if there's like a definitive one. Like some of them are just like so close, but I just like never want to ever say it. I gave you my worst, so it's like be the worst. And
okay, that's fair. Yeah, I get not singling out anyone. I get that. It's funny. So, do you keep in contact with any of your dates at all? And if you do, have you found love with any of these dates?
Oh man, that's a big word, love. So no, I think I keep in contact with some more than others, I should say. Like I have all their numbers, and stuff. I have all their numbers and a couple of their snaps, and I have them all on Insta, things like that. And so, but with that, I don't like text them every day, or we don't text every day. Like sometimes one of them will snap me, or I'll text them, or they'll text me, and it's just like, it's more casual. It's not like, oh, every day, like, hey, or good morning, or something like that. It's
okay. Not like a talking situation like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's nothing consistent, but I keep in touch with them to an extent on, obviously on social media. Like I follow them also. I like their stuff when they post and whatnot. But then the other, was it Sunday, I had scheduled a Zoom chat with all the girls, so we all did a big Zoom chat, which was really cool.
I saw that. Now that was one of my other questions down the line. I saw that. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. I had a bunch of stuff to talk to them about, and it was super cool too, because it was almost like two groups, because like I call them like the OGs, like the ones that were in the very beginning, like the ones that were there, and then like when I first started, when I didn't know what I was doing, and then the LA stuff popped up, so then I had to stop, and then I
put that on pause.
Yeah, and so then and then it was like the new ones once I resumed, so it was like almost two different groups, and it was nice because I hadn't talked to like a lot of the old ones for a while, so it was like seeing both of them like come to life, and all of them in a Zoom chat. It was a lot of fun.
That's really cool. So, did you have bad flirt in that conversation, or you just kicked her out?
No, absolutely not. I was like, no, not deal with that.
So how was so overall then, was this with the call with all these dates, were they good then?
Yeah, or you talk about like with all of them, or
Just overall, or just every single one, like overall, was it like a good experience?
Oh, 100%. It was an absolutely incredible experience, like meeting girls from all over, talking with different people, like meeting their families or their pets or their
Oh, no
roommates,
way.
or their friends. Yeah, like all those things, and just learning their backgrounds and what they do, and us just having casual conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It was really chill that way. It was a lot of fun, and it was just cool because like my map I throw on obviously like their names and stuff, so it's cool just to like know these people from all across the US and whatnot. So I like to think this is phase one because there's a lot of cool stuff in store too. And so I mean, yeah, like it was just a really cool experience, but it's just the beginning.
That's that, and this is where it's getting interesting now. So, because I'm going to mention it, so you were contacted by the LA producer. What was that initial feeling like? You're like, oh my gosh, this got noticed.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was like so wild. I woke up one morning, I had an email,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it was from some producers in LA, and they found they called it my Corona era dating endeavor, and they found it really interesting. They thought it would make for a good reality TV show. So I was like, oh, like at first I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, but I was also like, is this a scam? Like, it
Yeah,
was.
I was going to ask you. You probably had to be curious about that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I was like, I mean, I'm gonna reply because they emailed my work email, so I'm like, okay, they had to have probably done a little bit of digging or research to find that, and
Mm-hmm.
so I replied back and I was like, yeah, I'd be interested in hearing more. So basically, when we had our first Zoom, I remember when we had our first Zoom, I was so nervous getting on that. I'm like, what is gonna happen? Like, how many people are gonna be in this? Is it just one person? Like, what's going on? Like, are they gonna interview me? Is it just like what is this? I didn't know. I had no idea what to expect, but I got on and it was three of them. It was like two producers and more of like a director, I guess you
Mm-hmm.
could say. And it was so, like, looking back, it's so cool to have gone through that experience. But I for about 2 weeks I talked to them straight on Zoom, and when like the first couple of days I could tell they were like screening me in a way. They
Yeah.
weren't they weren't like interviewing me, but they were just kind of feeling me out, seeing what kind of kid I was. Like, they didn't want some just wacko or weirdo, and so I could tell they were kind of feeling me out and whatnot. But then we just kept talking and brainstorming and whatnot. So that was really cool.
Okay. So, is there any details you could share, with the podcast now, like when it will air, maybe, or is that like phase two then with this show?
So yeah, I could definitely touch on some stuff. So with the TV show side of things, it's um, that there's so many loops we have to jump through to get it to there. So basically, after I
Mm-hmm.
talked to them for a while, they wanted to create what's called a sizzle reel, which is basically like another word for a trailer. And
Mm-hmm.
so they would put together like a trailer for what we wanted this show to be, whether it's virtual, whether it's in person. Do the girls come to me? Do I come to the girls? Like, what is that? And so we were trying to figure out all that, and then they would put together sizzle reel, and we would pitch it to networks. And if a network bought, that's when it goes into production mode. So that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of how everything works. So we'd start at the top with, Netflix and HBO and Amazon and Hulu and stuff, and we'd go down the line. And then if one of them wanted to buy, then it would go into production mode. So
That's
for
awesome.
things right now in terms of the TV show, they're still trying to figure out the direction they want to take it, and kind of talking with different agents and things like that. It's not like, oh, it's not nothing's I should say nothing's like, I don't have a date where it's like, oh, I have a Netflix show starting on uh January 1st.
Mm-hmm.
It still has to possibly get to that point, so nothing's certain of it becoming a TV.
Okay.
But regardless of that, I personally, like, because I don't what I don't want to do is I don't want to like take a back seat and I don't ever want to expect anything to happen.
Yeah.
Even though they're confident in things, like I don't want to ever be like, oh, they got it. This is gonna be a show, like especially with all the work and time and effort I put into it. So I want to be proactive and take approaches. So I've got some big things in store for it. That's all, and I will be announcing those next week. So.
Oh, okay. So I this is not in the thing my episode list at all, but when you were talking about that you had to stop for a second, it was because of the LA stuff that you were in talks, so you had to pause it really quick.
Yeah, yep. Talking with them and everything, they told me that they wanted me to just kind of discontinue it, just because they were like, oh, if this does go into a show, do we want to use the girls that you've already gone on dates with? Do we want you to finish it out and then use all the girls? Do we want to create auditions or casting calls? They didn't really know the direction on how they would take it, so they wanted me to just kind of put it to like a pause while they figured that out. And then that was a great question. I'm really glad you brought that up. But then at the end of the summer, I was like, man, because I kept getting asked all throughout the summer, like, oh, why'd you just stop? Or, oh, how many dates you get to? And I also felt really bad for like the girls I had gone on dates with. They were probably like, wow, I did this one thing and he just stopped.
Did you did you message them and let them know at least, or?
I didn't because I was supposed to keep it really discreet then.
Okay.
And so I just and it was actually really good timing that it went on pause though, because since I was working 75 baseball games, I really didn't have time anyway. And so it was like perfect timing that they contacted me right before the season started. So then, but then after the season ended, we set up another call and I was talking to them and I was like, hey guys, people have been asking me, I'd really like to start it back up just so I could finish it out. Is that okay? And they were like, yeah, do your thing. We don't want to hold you back from anything. So take it and roll with it, gain a following, do your thing. And we'll still work on stuff on our end. And,
that's really cool.
Yeah. So I decided to start.
It was almost like a breather too, because of setting up all the episodes and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So it was very nice to start it back up. If I still hadn't started it right now, I'd be, well, one, I wouldn't be talking to you, but two, right. I'd be like, I would just feel like such a quitter. So I'm really glad I got to.
That's a good mindset. Now, did you are these episodes able to be viewed that you did these dates with, or you can't show any of that yet?
My full dates.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my full dates, I haven't released anything on my full dates.
Okay.
And the reason, and to be honest, I don't think I will, just because, well, one, length, I'd really have to go through and like trim and cut and edit a bunch.
Yeah.
And whatnot, which would be fine, but also I think like it could get a little stale.
That makes sense.
So
okay.
I think keeping just like the specific fun highlights of stuff.
Yeah.
To it on TikTok is the best way to go about it now. But I will be doing some things where I put things on YouTube and I have kind of like a almost full recaps and things like that.
Yeah, because you grew a little following on TikTok. I mean, it's close. It's like still at 75,000, 73,000. It will definitely reach over 100,000 soon.
Yeah, I'm really hoping. My goal was to reach over 100,000 by the end of the year, and so right now I'm a little over 80,000, which is good.
Oh, okay. So it just grew. Okay.
Yeah, so it grew a handful over the weekend and whatnot, and so I'm hoping that by like the end of the year I can be at 100,000. That's like been a really big goal of mine. I've been really, really trying hard since October 11th. Like I've tracked my followers and my analytics and my dates, and like week by week I do like little reports to myself to track how many I gained that week, and it's like kept me motivated because it's just progressed. And some weeks are big, some weeks are a little slower, but like nonetheless I have the mindset of, hey, if I gain one follower a day, that's progress.
That's awesome.
I could gain 1,000 a day, I could gain 5,000 a day, I could gain 4 a day. Like it's progress, and so I just gotta be patient.
How do you deal with the notifications then? And like right when you blew up, then you're like, oh god.
Well, it was really cool, I guess. Like it's such a cool feeling when you get on TikTok and like you have 99 plus notifications. That's like the coolest feeling in the world. You just click it and then it's just like just a ton. And I'm not the kid to I'll read through some of my comments, but like if there's hundreds or thousands, like there's no way I read them. I'll try to read DMs here and there. On Insta, I read my DMs pretty good. But TikTok sometimes I don't get to because there's just so much traffic. But yeah, I mean it's a really cool feeling to get all those. But yeah, I have like my notifications off on TikTok because that would just be terrible if my phone just constantly was like lighting up.
Yeah, I agree. I'm hoping soon that like with Instagram, someone's gonna like you're gonna blow up on there too eventually.
Oh, yeah, that'd be really cool. And TikTok's so nice because like I've gained since October 11th because what I've looked at is like Instagram and YouTube seem to be the toughest platforms to gain followers like quickly. You have to be really patient with those. And so, but Instagram, I mean, it's nice that I link it to my TikTok. So many people click on it and they'll come and follow me because of my traffic. So I've gained in like, since the middle of October, I've gained about 1,000 followers on Instagram, which has been really nice and whatnot. So if I can just keep putting out good content, people will go to obviously my Instagram or eventually when I create a YouTube channel, stuff like that. So that'll be nice.
Now, when does the verifying process gonna come about?
Oh man, I have no idea. I haven't even looked into that, to be honest. Somebody mentioned that to me the other day, and I was just like, oh man, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be one that like, because I know you can buy like a verification. You're talking about like,
you could? I didn't know that.
You know, like the blue check, right? Is
Yeah.
that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I know that you can buy that, but
no.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, because I've seen people that have bought it, and it's like, to me, it's bad taste if I go to someone's profile and it says
it's fake.
Yeah, exactly. And they have like 2,000 followers. It's like, no.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's not, yeah, it's fake. And so
my biggest pet peeve in life is someone being fake. I hate that stuff.
Right, dude. Yeah. The people who buy followers, buy likes, it's terrible. Like
it's not cool.
It doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah, and what does that tell you about your personality? That's someone you don't want to go on a date with for sure.
No, not at all. Yeah, exactly. So I think I have a little bit for my verification tag, but hey, it's something to strive for.
Yeah, I agree. So maybe if the show comes about, then it'll definitely get verified. But so this was a bachelor type experience almost. So do you have any ideas? Did you ever have any ideas of trying to get on that show, The Bachelor, Bachelorette?
That's a great question. I definitely I remember before I started this, people would always tell me to try and go on The Bachelor. Or is it the Bachelorette's the one where all the guys go on, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So people would always tell me I should apply to be on The Bachelorette because like they say you need someone with like unique backgrounds. And so since my title with the baseball team was the director of fun, people were like, oh my gosh, like you're the director of fun, you're a single guy, you're in different color suits all the time, like you could make this fun. And so I was like, oh, it's interesting. Like and so I definitely thought about it before this, like during this and after it. I'm like, man, I could really try, or I've thought about it more, I guess, like, oh, I could put it out there and be like, hey, I've gone on 50 virtual dates, or I've gone on a date with a girl in every state virtually or whatever, and
I'm experienced.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that would do really well. I'm not too sure. I think that might be back pocket, but I definitely have it in I have it in my toolbox of like, oh, I could do something maybe like that if it worked. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, because I love that show. I watch it. It's fun, but like the drama, like I'd be the kid and then I'd be the guy in the corner just like waving to the camera. Like I'm like, I'm not here for the drama. Like it's so annoying,
Right. Yeah, I know. I feel like I'd be like the big, or like the little kid. I feel like I'd be like laughing or like making jokes.
I'd be having fun.
Yeah, right. Like I'd be sitting there enjoying like the free drinks they give me or whatever, but like everybody else be like having their shirts off and showing off their muscles and really trying to like flex on the date, and I'm just sitting there being like a goofball. I feel like that's how I would be. But
yeah, and I mean the whole purpose of there is to find love, and it just makes me laugh. Like some of those guys on there, sometimes I think they're fake. I don't think they're on there for that, for that reason. It just makes me laugh.
Oh, 100%. It's great entertainment.
That could be it. That could be an idea for your show possibly. I don't know if you guys have talked about this, but like a bachelor type experience.
Oh yeah. Well, I've mentioned just to like numerous people like how imagine if The Bachelor like combined it with something like this. Like it's almost like, because I mean now people for The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, like if they say, oh, if someone's on The Bachelorette from North Dakota, everybody from North Dakota is like, oh, I hope she wins.
Yeah.
And so like if it was like that in every state would have such audience
viewership. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like it'd be like a Miss America type.
Oh my, that's interesting.
Like it would cause so much attention and so much popularity. So I feel like there's something there.
That's a good idea. I didn't even think about that. That's really cool for you. I really hope it works out. But so has this experience taught you anything then? Just in general or love life?
Yeah. I think biggest takeaway, kind of like I mentioned at the beginning, is how a simple idea can, if you execute on it, can take it to a whole new limit. So I think that has taught me a lot of different things. I mean, I remember when I started it, I was like nervous about getting a lot of, criticism for it and whatnot, like, oh, what's he doing and whatnot. But like the nice thing about this project is that for the most part, I've got a lot of positivity around it and everybody's thought it's been such a really good idea, which is nice. There have been some, and it sucks because sometimes it's even my closer friends who will hate on it or dog on it, like in the beginning. And so it's like, and so it makes me feel good once it grows and I keep like gaining in popularity to almost like just look at them and be like, yeah, that's what I thought in a way, like it's just like success factor. And so I think it just, for me, it's been the persistence and like the direction too, knowing to have direction in your life, like, or like a goal you want to get to or something you want, like your mind almost, it's kind of like going back to The Secret and the law of attraction, like knowing what you want and you'll find ways to get to that point, even if it takes months, weeks, years, like whatever it is. I think the big thing is patience. So I've learned, the patience part of it is a really big thing, but just the number one thing is how a simple idea, if you have an idea, execute on it, because if you just don't do it, nothing's going to happen. So
it's like power of intentions was the other word I was trying to explain with The Secret. But listen, every there's always going to be haters and the people who you succeed and they're going to be like, oh, I hope he doesn't succeed because I'm jealous now, type of thing. You know what I mean? Like there's always going to be people like that. So I mean, I respect that you kept going with it, because I mean, like me personally, like always with baseball, always there are people like, oh, like talking trash and whatnot. That stuff, I love that stuff because it motivates me. A podcast, I didn't really hear anyone talking crap. I'm sure people have behind my back. I mean, but at the same time, I really don't care. Like it's like I got to the point like in my life where I'm so confident in myself that I know I can do what I want to achieve. So I'm not going to let someone who's trying to bring me down. I'm not about that. I mean, good for them. Like if anything, it's like owning real estate in their mind type of thing.
100%. Yeah. You can't let those people get to you and anything like that. So I've learned that, and I'm glad you brought that up because, and it's awesome because you got your hands in a lot of different pots and you're always trying to think of things to do. And so that's really cool for you because like I said, that goes back to the idea stuff, is you're always trying to do different things and you're not just like, oh, I'm going to be a dead man walking and just go through the motions and wake up and be like, oh, what should I do? Like you're proactive about it, which is awesome, man.
And I know, like, especially since this is like more of a relationship episode, I know what I could bring to the table almost, like, because no girl is going to want to be with a guy who's not doing anything. They love the guys who are motivated and, can do stuff and show that you could bring that, like, it's the type of guy you could bring home to their family and like be like, hey, I got this. like it's a good feeling to know that like you're doing stuff with your life and then you can help other people. And like I always like to say, like, as long as I could put a smile on someone's face at the end of our conversation, I'm happy, and it makes me feel happy. So if I can help someone or they can help me, it's a beautiful thing.
100%, man. No, absolutely. I think like one of my biggest things with this whole project of mine is like creating opportunities for others. Like I think that's just so cool to do. Like for example, my Arizona date, she texted me and she was like, hey Matt, I just want to say thank you so much for letting me be part of this whole journey because of that video you posted, the one that did really well, kind of went viral, had all the girls. She said after you posted that video, somebody found my profile and they saw me singing and they want to produce my music. And
no way.
Yeah, so that made me feel like
that's so cool.
Good. Yeah, because like obviously I don't have the singing talent like she did that, but I was like just opened the door a little bit for someone to find her.
Oh, that's awesome.
That made me feel so good, because if I could create opportunities for other people, and I could do those things through my videos, my content, like my personality, my ideas, whatever it is, like, yeah, to me, and this is why I think me and you are like the same person, is because like you touched on making people smile. Like that's what I say in my job right now with the baseball team all the time, is there's no better feeling, and it's so rewarding. But there's no better feeling than to make somebody smile. Like they literally, that's why I went into entertainment in the first place, just because if you can make someone smile, like they forget about all the bad stuff that happened to them
in their life.
Like, yeah, like if they had a crappy day at work, if they were late, if they're having a bad relationship, or their wife or husband's mad at them, they they spilled ice cream on their jacket, whatever it is, like, if you like crack a joke, you give someone a compliment, you do something fun for them, and they smile, they don't think about that at all, even if it's for like 3 seconds. It's so rewarding.
Right. Yeah, and you can't and you can't like make sure someone's not taking advantage of you either. Like knowing that you're there, like it's mutual and it's a good thing. And so like this podcast specifically, another mantra or motto is always show respect. Like I show you respect, you show me respect, and that's how it should be in life. Like I don't care what you are, what you believe in, type of stuff. Just always show respect, and that's gonna get you a long way. So that's a really cool thing as well.
100%. Good karma, man, and reputation. It's good.
Yes. So that we talked a lot. So what is about the love life and whatnot, but like what are your hobbies outside of the 50 States, 50 Dates, or 50 Dates, 50 States? What are your hobbies outside of that?
So outside of that, I mean, I love to go run. I'm a big runner. So
okay.
I love going to the gym and running. I love basketball. I love playing basketball. I haven't played a pickup game for so long.
Oh, wow.
Because of COVID and everything. And so the gyms aren't really rolling in that way. And then I didn't really get a chance this summer to go and play like pickup basketball outside or anything. So I haven't played basketball in a long time. I've just like shot around here and there. So I miss that. But like those are two things that I just really like being active outside. Like I love snowboarding in the winter.
Oh, that's cool.
Going on walks. Like I like you said this earlier, but like going on drives. I love going on drives and listening to music and stuff. Like that stuff's awesome. How about you? What do you like to do?
So anyone who knows me outside of this or personally knows like baseball is like that's like an obsession almost, like always doing something with baseball, working out. I like to do some CrossFit as well. So like I'll do powerlifting and CrossFit. And then honestly, it's so hard because I do like a lot of random stuff in my life, and so every day is like kind of new, and I like to follow like a certain type of schedule. But every day is new, and so there's always something new with a hobby or something. So I don't really have any like too many specific hobbies. I just know that I'm interested. Like eventually, at one point in my life, I want to get into playing acoustic guitar just because I love the sound of it.
That's awesome. I love it. That's so cool.
It's so random, but there's just so many things. Like I can't tell you like one of these like, did you ever see on the TikToks, the Joe Rogan stuff? Like what if a camera crew was following you? Like what they would do type of stuff. So it's funny because I mean maybe this could come from this podcast, but it's funny. I have like a random goal, and I mean I don't know if I'll ever achieve it. I might eventually one time in my life when I'm more free possibly, but I want to get a random license of like anything, like doing a lot, like so a random pilot's license, a random lifeguard, just all these random licenses that make zero sense, just because you never know when you might need to use that stuff.
That's awesome. That's hilarious. Like you're saying you would want to get a bunch of them.
Yeah, just to have that use and like that. Like I don't want to like. So a big thing in my life, and it's like general that everyone talks about, but like for us in talking of incomes, like you never want to have one income. You want to have like 5 or 6. So like passive income stuff flows into you type of stuff. So I want to do that, but like take that into like the hobby world. Then I want to have like all these random like traits about me. Like for baseball, like you have to be a 5'2" baseball player to be, Hall of Famer almost. But like, and like you have to have that heart and whatnot. But like, it's like that. But then hobby world too. Like you want to have, like I want to have all these like random things that I could just randomly do.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's an awesome goal. You 100% should do that.
It'll happen one day. I'll figure it all out as time goes along, hopefully. But But yeah, so do you follow any sports teams, or do you have any specific favorite teams? Well, you said the Buccaneers. Do you have follow any other sports?
Oh, well, this year I was really bad about it, but I'm a big Oklahoma City Thunder guy. I love the
No
Thunder.
way.
Yeah. And so, but like, I was really bad about paying attention to the NBA this year, just because obviously, like, it was structured a lot different. And then also, I was just so busy, and so I honestly, like, it's so weird. I used to be so into the sports world in terms of like I used to do DraftKings, and when I was in college, like me and my buddies, we'd be like staring around. We'd have like 4 TVs, and we'd be watching everything. And when I think just since I've been so busy with like work and then this, that's just like taken so much of my time and focus. I haven't really, like, focused in on them, but I still do love, obviously, the sport. I love sports and things like that. I should really get back into that when I have more time of like making it a hobby, because I really enjoyed it.
It's fun, like daily fantasy sports. I love doing. Actually, I don't know if I'm banned from DraftKings or something like that, maybe. But
Man,
it's not that I did anything wrong. So I remember when I first started it, because I love fantasy sports. I do all the fantasy sports. I love that stuff. But so with daily fantasy, I joined DraftKings. Put $10 in. This is like my very first time doing it. Put $10 in. And then I made over 100 after the season. So it was a good year for just starting it. And when I went to go cash out, you have to put in the card that you used when you initially did it. Well, I didn't know that, and when I put my mom's card in initially, because my new card was coming in, so I didn't have like a card or anything. So as when I was cashing out, I put my card in, not thinking about it, and they said I avoided their one user policy. And I had all these emails saying, like, like begging. I'm like, listen, it's the same last name. Just please, like, get, I'm not like trying to, do anything wrong. And they were like, we get that, but you're avoiding the policy. So, and I think I got banned. And then I think I got uplifted. And then like after I turned 21, and then I don't know. Now it's like, I don't think I can use it again. I went to go try it. So I'm over it. I stopped using it. Now it's FanDuel, but I'm not doing good at FanDuel, so I don't put any money in it. I'm not about gambling.
Dang, that's nuts. I remember, I forgot about this. I remember when I started on DraftKings, I remember it wouldn't let me sign up.
Yeah.
And I kept trying to sign up. And I remember, like, it was making me so mad because all my friends had it, and I was trying to sign up, and it kept saying, it was like, if you submit a form and then you click submit, it says like, oh, you didn't fill in this box. Or something, like it'll say something like that. Well, mine said, my like red flag was, your username is or your username cannot be inappropriate. And I was like, what? Like, it was my name. I'm like, what? Like, why is this? And I kept like trying to submit. I'm like, this is making me so mad. But
oh my
I
gosh.
figured out that, do you know how my last name is spelled?
Yeah, that's why I was cautious with saying it, making sure it's all good.
Yeah, and so I'm like, wow. And so like I deleted my last name, and I was like, and I like submitted it, and it went right through. I'm like, nice. I'm like, wow. Like, that's so terrible.
That is so funny.
Yeah,
that is great. Have you played that game Among Us yet? Have you ever played that?
Oh no, I'm so mad. I wish I was in college with like my roommates and stuff.
That would have been fun.
Have you? Is it really fun? Have you played it?
Well, yeah. So that's when you mentioned the last name thing. So I played with a bunch of friends that got me into it, and I put my name as Bob on it for some reason. It just popped up, and I just put my username as Bob. But the one time I went to go put Sexy Bob, and it wouldn't let me play because I put Sexy, and I was like, "Are you serious?"
Oh wow!
But now it's COVID Bob because I had COVID.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So what is the big picture for goal for you? Did it change after this experience, or is it something that you were getting in with the realm of baseball and emceeing and whatnot?
Yeah, so it definitely this experience 100% changed changed my perspective on what I kind of wanted to do. I do want to work in entertainment, but I've realized that, like, kind of almost diving into like this influencer content creator world, I would love to chip away at that, work at that, and eventually get myself on just a platform where I have a big audience, big following, and then other opportunities stem from that, whether that's sponsorships, endorsements, brand, or just like trickling into other things, like if this is created into podcasts and websites and stuff like that, and then then it's almost like a Bachelor thing, right? Like what if it's okay, a new guy going on dates, a girl going on dates, like whatever it is, like maybe it's that. Because I think about it, and I mean, this is me being confident, but it's also just me being like optimistic. Is like, I mean, The Bachelor has been around for 25 years. Like,
Yeah.
can't something knock on the door and be like, hey, there's a new opportunity here? Like, it'd be cool if that could be that, you know? And so if and obviously, like, I don't see this being like, oh, a virtual thing, like for the
down the road.
Like, yeah, like I said, I think there's a ceiling to it, but I think there's definitely a career that could be made out of this if I just keep growing. And then if or aside from that, just like, yeah, that content creator world is something I've kind of really found interesting and wanted, because it's prideful too. You get like a sense of accomplishment.
100%.
You can relate, you know, you doing the content you're putting out, like you talk with people, you put in the work, like this stems from you. Like, you know, like we wouldn't be talking if it wasn't for you. Like you reached out, like you're building these connections, you're doing this stuff, like that's really rewarding in its sense. So I think that there's just a lot of pride with that. And it's like transactional too, if that makes sense. Like you can see how many listeners or viewers or followers, or you can see those things instead of it just being like, oh, am I doing the right stuff? Or, oh, is this working? Like you could see the likes, shares, comments, follows, and then it all kind of plays together. So
yeah, and it's interesting you say that, because like, so with this podcast, I was thinking maybe it can grow into someone noticing, and like it could be a talk show at one point, like, you know, in the TV realm. But like, I mean, I'm doing it more, like you said, to meet new people, because you never know the connections you meet, and you never know who's out there and whatnot. And I mean, right now for me personally, like, so it's you know, since March, so for me, it hasn't like blown up at all, and it's gonna take one video where it blows up, I'm sure. But it's sometimes it gets random views. Like the one clip I just put out, I did it with a professional comedian. His name's Alex Ortiz. It was a great podcast. Like he's been on Comedy Central, HBO. Like great guy. It was one random clip I put out, and within the 2 days I just posted it, it's close to like 200 views now or something like that. And I'm like, it's a cool thing, and I like, obviously I wanted to get into the thousands and the millions and whatnot, but the fact that I just posted that randomly and it just like pops, like that, like the longer, like the actual podcast episodes, I don't know if they get so many views just because they're longer. And I know people are going to be like, oh, I don't want to listen all the time, which I get, but I don't know, a lot of people who have been listening to these consistently, they message me and like say that they really enjoyed them. So it's a good feeling.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And like the compliments you get from people and all those things, it's very interesting, and it's a lot of fun to do. Like it's a different kind of like work.
Yeah.
In a way. God, and you said something in it. Oh my goodness. I wanted to bring it up and I can't remember. Man, it was good. Oh no, I was going to say, like, the thing is this is one thing I hate about it though, is every time I like progress, my expectations get higher.
Oh, like, yeah.
Like, and you can relate to that, you know, like when you start and when you're on social media and you get, you know, double-digit likes, you're like, okay, cool. You're like,
I'm big time now. Give me that blue check mark.
Yeah. Then it's like, oh, you get triple digits, and it's like, oh, here we go. All right, then you get, you know, thousands, and it's like, oh, nice. But like, if you ever drop back to that, it's like, that sucked. But, but you know, like 3 weeks ago, that was your peak. You know, it's like, I do that all the time, and I bang my head against the wall. I'm like, wow. Like, but then I have to like be humble, and I have to be like, Matt, you're fine. Like, you can't, like, a lot of that stuff, it doesn't matter and whatnot. But like,
well, there was an issue with one of the TikTok girls recently. It was I think it was like Charlie D'Amelio or something like that. Have you heard about that? Like how she was saying how she got 95 million, but she wanted 100 million or something. Like, I felt bad for her because she's young. I didn't realize how young these girls are, but because I looked up the age, I was just really curious. I was like, you know, how old is, maybe she's thinking that way because of her age or whatever. But at the same time, I've been hearing like YouTubers like Logan Paul, I think, mentioned it once or whatever. But views, like, he used to be like, people used to be obsessed with the views and whatnot, and then they kind of learned, like, as they grew, like, you know, it's whatever. Like but like my mindset. So before I started this, I had to remind myself, like, it may not get views, it may get views, but I had to remind myself that I'm doing this because I like doing it. And if someone can relate with that, then that's all that matters.
Yeah, no, 100%. You couldn't have said it better. Absolutely. I know that's one thing that, like, it's tough when, like, if I have a video that does really well or something, and I'm getting 99 plus notifications, and then all of a sudden I open my TikTok one day and it's just like really dry. I'm like, well, what's going on? It's like somebody took something away from you. It's weird. It's like a really weird feeling, but yeah, you have to look at it like you just said, of, hey, why'd you start this? Why are you doing this? People are still seeing it. You know, you have listeners, you have viewers, you have followers. Like, that's what it's about.
Yeah, and eventually, I mean, right now, for me personally, it probably is for you. It's just a hobby right now, just because you're not making money off of it. But when you do, then it could be cool or whatnot. Hopefully with views, but you still want to stay true to yourself, almost.
Oh, 100%. Well, yeah, and progress is so motivating.
It's like, very motivating.
Yeah, like once you see the numbers go up and things like, that's what I was saying, like, about transactional. It's so, like, you can see it.
Yeah.
Then it just motivates you, like, ooh, I gained this many followers today or this many listeners. Like,
yes,
I want to go record 4 more podcasts. You know?
It's a very good feeling. So is there going to be, I know you mentioned partially like a phase 2, or there's going to be phase 2, but like, so is there going to be a sequel to this, or is it going to be like a branched out idea of this? Or if you can't answer it, I get it.
No, that's good. So what I do have planned is definitely big, and it's fun, and it's exciting and cool stuff. It's almost like it's kind of like a season 2 in a way, but not in a way. I don't know. It's interesting. And I'm hoping to release that next Monday on December 14th. Depends on how some things go this week and this weekend. But like, yeah, I'm very excited, and I think that will take this whole thing to another level.
Okay.
And so I'm very, very excited for that announcement and whatnot. And I was nervous when I talked to the girls about it, and like people I've shared it with very briefly and whatnot. But it's gonna be interesting.
That's cool. I'm excited to hear about that. So we're close. We definitely went over an hour like I expected. So I think you're going to be my second longest episode, which is, so I think it's going to reach around 2 hours. But would you like anything to add to this podcast?
I just want to say, Adam, I appreciate you having me on, man. And like it's been awesome talking to you, and you're an awesome host of this podcast. And
I appreciate it.
And like, how you sent me the questions and everything. One, it was very organized. You're very communicative. Like from your first DM, I was like, I'm in. Like
that's awesome.
You got me hooked. So I appreciate it, man. And I'm definitely gonna be following you and everything you're doing. And so I'm excited to see how you strive in your career. I have no doubt in my mind that you're an absolute winner, and that you're gonna just kill it in anything you do. So I appreciate the privilege of just getting to meet you, man.
Hey, that means a lot, hearing that. Like, I love, like, people who say, like, they see me like doing stuff. Like, I love that fact, because I mean, one, I see that coming from you too. I just think the idea, because everyone falls in love with the dating, scenery and whatnot. But I love that you said that, and I appreciate that. Because right now, I mean, I like to believe that I could do that stuff, but at the same time, it's like, you have, like, you don't see it yet. Other people could see it for you, but like, and I see the picture, but at the same time, it's like so hard to see it, because you don't know where this stuff can go. It's so random sometimes.
100%. I know, man. And you just chip away. And I'm a big believer. And I mean, like you said, everything happens for a reason. And I think sometimes things just fall into place like they should. Like, I mean, I remember when I started this whole thing, I was like, man, what am I doing? I'm going on these long dates. Like, I really didn't even know what I was doing. Like, I probably went on like 7 or 8 dates, and I didn't even put out content yet. And I was like, and so like nobody knew. And I'm like, man. And so then I finally found the rhythm, and now it's starting. I was on just gravel road there, Adam, and now I'm on a little bit of a highway, a little bit,
Well, you never know, like, everything has its reason. So, I mean, I think I believe in love at first sight. So you never know if you found that yet, or.
Oh man, I don't know about that.
I mean, who knows?
I mean, I will say, literally, my sister always makes fun of me after I get off a Zoom date. She like, I've probably done this with over a dozen of them. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna marry that girl. My sister's always like, Matt, you've said that about the last 13 of them. I'm like, oh.
That is so funny. So, but yeah, I'll be giving you a follow on TikTok and all that stuff. So, yeah, and then, so where can people follow you, in any realm?
Yeah, so biggest spot obviously to follow everything is on my TikTok at 50 dates 50 states, and then on my Instagram at Matthew Wurnig. So those are the two biggest things I use right now. But then eventually I will have a YouTube channel that'll come a little later down the road. But yeah, so those two things, my TikTok and my Instagram.
Perfect. Well, yeah, and then so well, I'm from PA, so you can mark PA as meeting a new friend. Maybe you have to get for other states there, but I really do appreciate you coming on. This has been awesome.
No, it's been great, man. No, it was a pleasure. I'm glad we could set up a time and got to meet each other and everything. And if I'm ever out in Pennsylvania, man, hit you up.
Well, definitely. I mean, who knows? I mean, I like to travel. That was one of the things on my vision board. So since I put that up, I've been traveling a lot. So, we'll be hanging out in the future.
Absolutely, man. Well, yeah, man, stay in touch, and I'm sure we'll talk soon, and good luck with everything. And you know what? I'll message you after my announcement and everything, and I'll let you, I'll be like, hey, did you see it or whatever?
Okay.
I'm curious to see if you're like, I knew it, or if you're like, I had no idea. So I'm curious to hear your reaction. So
I have an idea, but we'll see. And then so here's my outro, and then I'll stay on after a little bit. But we just went on a limb that you continue to grow this tree by being yourself or be different. Peace. Do you like this shirt, by the way?
I do love the shirt. I was literally like, what? I wanted to ask what that was. Is that just at a random, or what is that?
Yeah, literally was shopping one day and I love random shirts, so it just came about. And I was like, this is so random. I love it. Let's do it.
That's hilarious. Do you mind me asking how much that was?
Oh my gosh, it was in Macy's, because I was thinking about this the other day when I refound the shirt after a year I bought it. But it was in Macy's with my friends. We were Christmas shopping last year. I'll say around 20, 25. I'm not positive though.
Oh, okay. See. I never know with clothes. Sometimes it could have been like, oh, it's like $80, or you could have been like, oh no, I got it at a thrift store for $5.
You never know.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
That's funny.